Hello and welcome. The last time we have seen each other from a live broadcast from Mobile World Congress, it was back in 2019. And actually that year, we took you through from Barcelona to Shanghai and to Los Angeles. And just right before MWC 2020, our whole world turned upside down. And from all the physical events, we went to digital. But now, right now, 2022, finally, we are back to Mobile World Congress. But obviously, it's not the same thing. We knew how to work with physical events, and then we got to use the digital. But now is the hybrid events. So Matt, what exactly hybrid events mean?
Oh, it's a great question, Anita, and I think we're just experimenting with the beginning of true hybrid after 2 years of brilliant digitalization. We're happy to be back. We're able to see people again. That's amazing. But for us, we wanted to try and bring these leaps forward in digitalization to the physical world and start this journey, because hybrid is a scaling matter. Sometimes it's going to be very highly digital with some physical element. Sometimes it's going to be very physical with some digital element. And I'll just quickly talk through a few of the elements that we've had here, if that's okay. The first one is an immersive experience that we built at the entrance to our hall. We have a very large hall, as we see here, 6,000 square meters. But we decided to dedicate some of the space not just to deploy content, our new vision, the Imagine Possible story, but also to help with traffic flow, because in the COVID emergence, we really were thinking about the sensibilities that people have towards meeting again. Can we make the smooth flow through our experience? So we started with this Immersive Tour, a multi-sensory tour. That's part of the digital hybrid layer, is that we want to get people visually, we want to get them with the right words. In our space, we also have smell and feel as well. So this was important for us, and the space has been functioning as an entrance, also deploying content so people can experience it themselves directly, maybe without so much need for interpersonal, because there's less people here. And why don't we take a video to actually see what that was like?
I would love to have that. I mean, this experience, I really felt it in each and every sense. But right now, we are doing a live broadcast. And this was just the first one. How many broadcasts we have been doing from here to customers and to others who were not able to come physically?
Yeah, the audience beyond here is really important to us. The people here, it's fantastic to meet them, but we knew there'd be many who couldn't come. And in the future, I think that's going to continue. For reasons of sustainability, having so many hundreds of thousands flying for trade shows, some of us really need to meet for many reasons, but others maybe they could stay at home and have a good experience. So what we've done is a couple of things. First of all, this experience, the Imagine Possible experience, is available digitally. So when people leave, they can hit a QR code and take it away with them. They can also share it with their friends online, and we want that to spread, and so people can go into that, almost a first step into metaverse sort of digital experience in 3D. But more importantly, there's camera crews running around helping people engage with the show floor. You're going to go through a tour in a minute. We've had many of them during the week with our top customers who couldn't come here. Or some of them were here and a lot of them were at home. So suddenly the amount of people that the content is reaching has amplified. We have cameras next to each of our demo stations, which is allowing us to connect with audiences. If it's a smaller group, we can talk directly to them, take their questions. A larger group, it's more like a broadcaster, but we can always tailor the experience.
Wow.
Just like if they'd come here themselves.
That actually makes it so much more inclusive. I just realized now that so many times with physical events, it wasn't necessarily inclusive. But right now, through connectivity, we can actually bring these experiences and tailor them to each and each need.
We really can.
This is actually like something really, really good.
We really can. And one final thing I'd like to say is, for us, an experience at an event or digital event is a lot. We want people to peel the onion on our stories and connect with our people, ask the questions they need to. We start with the visionary, we move into the content that starts to explore more. You can only do so much on the floor. But with the digital layer, we can go to any degree. So we can connect people also with our experts who are not here via digital areas that we've set up, little booths or in meeting rooms, and they can go even deeper. So we start to open up a complete, extra layer. And like you said, it's fully inclusive. It's wonderful.
Yeah. One more thing before I let you go, Matt, because I know that you're really, really busy and you do both physically and also with all the digital events. But what I also just realized that it must have been a challenge and also a huge opportunity that we had also our colleagues here, but most of them stayed remote. So were there any typical challenges, or what were the opportunities or the best things of bridging this gap, both from physical and digital?
Yeah, and first of all, we're incredibly thankful for the people who've come here, both our colleagues who are making the experience happen much less than usual, also the guests who've invested for very deliberate reasons to come, and then those who are not here. How are we able to get them involved, because they're a big special part of the experience, whether they're colleagues who are sharing or guests as well. But for me, the biggest challenge was actually getting the prediction right on how busy we were going to be. Because in the past, you would come to our space, it would be crowded, it'd be shoulder room, and we were really happy that we estimated accurately that it would be between 25% to 1/3 of people compared to a big normal year. That gave us the space to breathe a little bit, space to move, space to do the digital engagement. And I've been getting that as a consistent remark. This felt so much more comfortable. And we're lucky we've got a big amount of space to use. But I also see that as a flavor of the future. Hybrid can really be a better way for us to connect, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. And a big thank you and congratulations to your team and what you put together, because I think this is actually amazing. Both physical, immersive experience and digital. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you.
Thank you. And right now, look who I found. My good friend, Hans, who
Good
we
to
have
be here with you again, yes.
It has been 3 years, right? Gosh, it's so good to see you, Hans.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. And I hope you enjoy what we've done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think I would still like to do that demo tour with you.
Of course.
So in the last 3 years, we've experienced that connectivity, mobile networks, are national critical infrastructure. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to work remotely, connect with our loved ones, learn from home. Everything was really, really about connectivity and the future. So networks were critical. But what are the future of the networks, Hans?
Yeah, and as you all saw on the film that you just recently saw, we talked about limitless connectivity, which sounds good, and it is good, but it's not really there yet. So what do we say to our customers that they should do to actually build the networks for the future and start already now? Then let's go to Robert, who's an expert in this, and he knows exactly how to do this already now. Robert.
Hi Hans, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. We just talked about the future of the networks, which then relate to what we saw in the movie just before with the limitless connectivity.
Right. So that's one of the phases that you see here on the table. It's the research layer, which is about 10 years ahead of time. We have here a dense urban, we have a stadium, we have urban, we have manufacturing, and we have rural. And here you see like a digital representation of the actual city. So the digital and the physical are connected, and in this case it's like a digital twin that we're showing. Now what we're talking about for the future is, for instance, that we will have trillions of devices connected. We're talking about devices, for instance, that are energy harvesting. So they're getting their energy from the environment, like for instance movement or maybe even heat. But also Internet of Senses. We're talking about devices such as taste, such as smell, haptics, voice, as well as so sound, as well as images. And all these different devices need to be connected and need to be supported by one network. And that's what we're calling anywhere, anytime, limitlessly type of connectivity. Now, of course, to get there, we need to have some kind of baseline. So we're coming from a foundation where we're talking about 2 years ahead of time. So in this case, if we're looking what operators are talking about, it's modernize with cost effectiveness, it's expand into new business opportunity and managing increasing complexity. So if I take an example here related to the modernize with cost effectiveness, to get the coverage everywhere, operators are having a 4G network maybe today, they introduce 3.5 gigahertz. That coverage will be limited, but by using spectrum sharing with a lower frequency band, by using carrier aggregation, they can expand the coverage for the 3.5 gigahertz and reuse their existing sites. So they get coverage everywhere and they can reuse the cost per bit. Some operators are doing modernization. So if we look, for instance, with Vodafone UK in the dense urban area in London, they were having massive MIMO radios. And they were large, they were heavy. To put them in place, they needed to stop the road, they needed to put a crane there, and then they needed to hoist everything up. Now with the new radios, what is happening is that we have the Ericsson silicon, we have our own ASIC design, and what we can do in this case is we can dramatically shrink the radios, we can make them much lighter, we can also reduce the power consumption, which means that the operator can lift their radios up to the top of the building. So from a time to market perspective, they can roll out the network much quicker, but at the same time, they could reduce their energy consumption by 43%.
Wow.
That's great. Yeah.
So a few examples of what we discuss here around the table.
Thank you so much, Robert. All right, so here we're talking about how you can actually get the 5G coverage in a bigger way and really use the connectivity in the best way. So if you come with us, we have something else related to connectivity and capacity. So, you know, we talked here about giving better coverage of the 5G. But then when the traffic, then you're looking at how the traffic evolves. What do you think are the main differences from now than what it was before when everyone was just watching YouTube?
I mean, watching YouTube is one thing, but now we all want to share our experiences. There are more and more content creators who are uploading content videos, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we don't know any of the future of them. So the upload speed, how fast I can share it, is really, really important, at least for me, and that's what I see from the content creator community.
Yes, and just by luck, we have Lisa here with us, who will talk about how enormously high speed we can achieve in the uplink.
You keep surprising me, Hans.
No, and of course, I mean, you talked about the self-centered generation and the upload that we need to get going. And in order to do that, we have to have a superhighway in the 5G domain, also in the uplink. And here we're doing it in a combination of using millimeter wave in the uplink and together with midband. And we are getting to an amazing of almost a gigabit per second, and that can then be consumed for whatever use case you could think of in the uplink. I'm going to take a little bit help from my buddy Hans to just show you that this is actually live. So he's blocking the radio right now for me, and you can see here on the screen that the throughput is actually dropping. So this is live gigabit per second in the uplink demo that we're showing, and your imagination is the only thing that's going to stop you to think about how this can be used. Over to you, Hans.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lisa, for that.
Thank you.
Okay, but then we also have, you know, not only the very high capacity stuff, we also need to get everyone connected. That's very important.
And I think this is, you're really raising a great point, Hans. Other thing that we have seen mainly at the beginning of the pandemic is the digital divide. There are so many rural areas who are not connected, and that brought so many challenges just with remote work or remote education. So I think I would really like to know that how are we connecting the unconnected?
Yes, and here we have Jonas with us, who then will talk about the fixed wireless access opportunity, both from an end user perspective and from a customer perspective.
So with 5G, you get tremendous speeds, capacity, and coverage. And as you mentioned, a lot of people are unconnected or underserved. They have too poor connectivity for today's society. So this is really a match made in heaven, where operator can provide mobile broadband service, but also connect all the households that need additional services. And 5G provides fiber-like speeds, which is also a lot of interest in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jonas. That was the crash course on fixed wireless access. Okay, now let's assume that we have the coverage all over, we have very high capacity. What value can that give to consumers? And here we have Eric with us, who will explain all that.
Great, thank you. Yeah, what we have here in this demo, we have basically a visualization of the opportunity for the operators to grow with 5G and extended reality in 3 different time frames, so 2023, 2026, and 2030. So if you want to engage with the demo here.
Absolutely.
So what we have here is a hand tracking type of interaction, controlling this 360 camera, capturing physical implementation of scenarios, projecting it to the screen here with augmented reality information on top. If you want to take us to 2023 maybe?
Oh, absolutely. Let's see what
let's
is
start
coming for next year.
Yeah, let's start our story. So firstly, we have a local deployment here at a gaming venue where our main character, Ella, she's engaging in this this immersive.
I still need to practice this.
No problem. Okay. Now we're in 2030.
Okay, you go back
Problem.
to 2023.
So let's start from the beginning with the local deployments. It was more near term what we can do today actually with technology. So here we have 2 people engaging in an extent. Okay. We have 2 people engaging in this immersive multiplayer XR experience. So they're wearing XR glasses, displaying digital content in front of them in the physical space. But as you can see here, there's no wires or no local processing compute on the floor. But instead, this is done in an edge cloud, and it's streamed to the devices with this local deployment of 5G standalone. In 2026 timeframe, we imagine this going past just local deployment. So in this use case scenario, we have a university campus utilizing more immersive tools in the education. We can see an illustration here of a 3D representation of an astronaut from the International Space Station, demonstrating how they grow their plants, etc. But what we're really pushing here and discussing with the customers is the opportunity to build more advanced services utilizing the network exposure functionalities we have available. So here we imagine students that are remote, that they're able to call into the lectures, experiencing it as if they're actually present in the room using some sort of holographic communication. And network slicing then guarantees a sufficient quality of experience and quality of service. And this is like one of the main monetization opportunities we talk about with the customers, to use the network as a platform of innovation rather than just a bit pipe. And then in the longer term, around the 2030 timeframe, we envision an even broader deployment, not only of the connectivity and the communication infrastructure, but also the compute infrastructure and the edge servers. So in this scenario here, we have a bunch of people gathering in a city square to celebrate New Year's together. We envision all these people to wear some sort of XR device from various device manufacturers. But due to standardization being more mature this time frame, they can share the spatial information from device to device, and then together build up a digital twin of the entire city. And at this time frame, we're really talking about merging the digital with the physical, and creating this holistic and citywide and city like grandeur experiences together. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much. Actually, I'm really looking forward to experiencing the extended reality. I think it can make our lives so much easier, and again, getting back more inclusive.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
no problem.
So Anita, funny you were saying that you would like to experience the XR, the extended reality. Guess what we will do?
Oh,
Yeah.
I know you can always count on your
Yeah.
hands.
Here we have Lisa, and she has just got some very good form factor AR glasses or VR glasses.
Wow.
And
Just to make a note, is this a sanitizer? Okay, so I think I just only realized this yesterday when I was walking through the floor, that after each single use, this is what we've been doing, which is like, of course, totally makes sense, but thank you. I think I was like super impressed.
yeah. And what we will show now, Lisa, who's now shown us the very high uplink, she will now just show how you can actually put these on. And what she does, she plays a game in real time, which usually requires a big console for playing. And here she only has a 5G mobile phone running over a 5G live network, and she can play with people and with others.
Oh,
And
wow.
you can see this is her view. And she has been practicing all week, so I'm sure she will win the game for sure.
I think she had the best job this week. So you have been playing, Lisa, all day. That's actually quite cool. I'm now envious.
And of course, this is one way of showing the XR and how what we heard from Eric, that it was something that you do the compute in the network. So edge computing is something that you do, and you need a very fast speed, and that's 5G.
But I also have to make a comment, because I just have to. Actually, I like those glasses. Because, you know, the previous generations, I think it's like, yeah, maybe they were quite questionable, but I think we are getting there. That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I will be back, and I will be playing with you.
Okay, and also talking about this with the extended reality, we also have the holographic communications that we showed as well.
Oh, yes.
But as always, it's always a bit tricky when you have a film camera like that to film through something that is just 2D. So we will wait until next year, perhaps, to show that in 3D. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always have that challenge that there are some experiences that you can only say, and the camera is just like, we are not yet able to share it with external audiences or through live.
No, and now we talked about, okay, what can be done with 5G? And we know that many of our customers, they try to find, okay, how can we actually create value to our customers? And then we talk about the consumer part, where we talk about extended reality and so forth. And then we have the other business area, which our customers usually have. What is that?
Enterprise.
Of course it is. And
There
here,
are so many enterprises.
there are so many enterprises, and here is where 5G really has been seen to be the absolute maximum value you can get out of it, probably is in the enterprise area.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
to help us, here we have Nikit. Here you go.
Thank you, Asa.
Give us the story about the enterprise and the possibilities that enterprise can use 5G for.
Absolutely. I mean, we all recognize that we are in the midst of rapid industrial digitalization that is powered by technologies such as 5G, IoT, AI, and edge computing. Now, during these times, enterprises are looking towards technological solutions to address their challenges. And we've partnered with them to look at solutions for the industry of mining, port, and manufacturing. And today, let's look at the manufacturing use cases. Here we are looking at an automotive manufacturing setup where products arrive or material arrive and a finished good is sent out. Now, as you can see, there are 5 use cases across the floor, across the factory floor. And in these cases, we're trying to solve specific problems. Let's look at one of the use cases powered by 5G. Here we are looking at collaborative robots. These robots are working in tandem, working with each other and with the factory personnel on the floor. They perform tasks such as assembly and drilling, and at the same time help with product quality inspection. Now, when these use cases are deployed on a factory floor, the biggest question is, what's the investment and where is the ROI? What we've developed is a value calculator that showcases return on investment or estimated incremental value for our enterprises. Now, when you deploy 5G in a factory's environment, you don't do that for one single use case. You will bring in additional use cases. The moment you solve different problems with the same technology, you see that the break-even is much faster and the return on investment or estimated incremental value is at 131%. I would like to invite you to use our value calculator tool, which is available on Ericsson.com, to try out different configurations and subsequently look at the return or value that you gain from it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. Before we move on, what I would really like to say is that I was actually impressed at what is the future of manufacturing, or how is it changing, and it's not replacing the people who work there, but actually making it safer for them in an environment where it's more effective, and it's really collaboration between like robots and the physical and actually human beings. So I'm really, really impressed by that, and I think it's just really nice to see that.
Yes, you're right. And then, of course, if we then have this specific manufacturing plant, and we talked about there is robots working together, there needs to be no lag whatsoever. And then you have to have 5G to make it very, very quick, but you also need to have the computing power very close by. So in that case, we know that our enterprises would benefit from a private network. So you actually have a private network. And guess what? We can show you what that is. Yeah.
Of course we can.
And so we have Staffan here for us, and what we've seen the manufacturing plant. We talked about the possibilities for the manufacturing industry to benefit from the connectivity that you give, and we said you have the solution.
I do actually. So Ericsson Private 5G is our private 5G network product. It's the best product out there for private 5G, but really connectivity is nothing without the ecosystem. So we see it's nothing without the solutions or whatever it is that you want to use it for. And so that's why we've put together our ecosystem of partners. Here we have the device partners, software and applications, as well as the professional services that bring everything together for a use case end to end. So the system integrators, as well as the business advisories that can describe the ROI and do the solutioning end to end. Here, what we're showcasing is some kind of factory scenario. We're creating these very high value assets, wood balls going through a production system. We're counting them up. We're measuring things like impact and vibration that describe the asset, and you can get an understanding of what's happening with it, what's the quality of the produced unit. This, however, is nothing until you get into the hands of the factory worker. So we've created a dashboard here with our partner Software AG, and we can actually follow in real time as this tank is filling up here. This is the type of data that you want to have in the hands of the factory worker. He can now react preemptively to anything going on the factory floor and actually do something about something that's going to maybe happen, start production ahead of time.
Excellent, thank you very much. So,
I think this is quite impressive.
oh, it is. Okay, perhaps not the small, wooden balls, but we understand the principle. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen wooden balls before,
Yes,
so but
yeah.
I think it really just it's a really great way to show it to others and what are other options.
It is.
Just to start the imagination.
And then also, as you said, we will have coverage in a specific plant. Can you just show us what you do need for the coverage of a manufacturing plant?
Absolutely. So with Ericsson Private 5G, it comes in two sizes, small and large. And for both of those products, we deploy that with, as standard, 8 radio dots, like the one you see here. This is how we're building out seamless connectivity indoor. So this is nothing like, let's say, a Wi-Fi access point where you have handover between the points. Here we're building out one seamless cell. So I'm sure you've experienced when you're on a Teams call or something, moving around in your office, you're walking over from one end to the next, suddenly call drops because it's desperately trying to hang on to that other access point. With this, we're building out seamless connectivity on the factory floor. So when you have something like a mobile robot moving around, it never goes out of coverage because it's all one seamless cell, seen here, built out by the radio dots. Again, with 8 dots, we can cover 6,000 square meters. But of course, with the product that we have, you can actually deploy more of these, but 8 is what you get as standard. If we look at something like the outside factory site here, just next to the factory, we can also build it out with our micro antennas. For even larger scenarios, something like a port or a mine or offshore wind, we can also use our radio portfolio with the macro antennas and build out large areas of coverage. Again, this is still Ericsson Private 5G, but we're using different antennas to actually build out full coverage over large areas.
Thank you very much. That gave you the whole portfolio you showed us there. They're excellent. All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. So where are we going next, Hans?
Yeah, well, we talked about private networks, and we also heard some others talking about network slicing. And that's sort of a different way of looking at it, where you don't have a private network, you rather actually split it up in slices logically. And I think we just have a quick look and see how that can be done in a practical way.
Yeah, I think back in 2019 we already were talking about network slicing. But I think that how we can do it in dynamic and in a logical way, that is something new. But I don't remember hearing back in 2019.
No, exactly.
So, yeah. Let me click here. So what we show here is different ways to take advantage of network slicing, how the operators can earn more money with it. So let me go through a couple of examples here. Mira, she's an office employee that has an office like this with Android 12 that has a personal side and a work side. And all the applications on the personal side, they go to internet on one slice that is invoiced to Mira. Whereas the application on the work side go on a second slice, invoiced to the employer, and goes to the company intranet. So we can call it a private network. The second example, Jenny, she's a gamer. And she has bought the cheapest subscription. And because she's a gamer, a few times per month, she wants to have better quality, for example, when she's waiting for the train. So she can download an app like this. And then when she wants to boost, she presses boost, and the subscription moves up. The whole phone moves up to a premium quality for 1 hour, and then it moves back. The third example is a teacher who wants her students to be able to connect remotely. So she can buy a bunch of slices and send them out to the phones of the students. So whenever they connect to the school, they don't have to pay for it, but the operator invoices the school instead. So those were 3 examples
thank
of
you.
how to use slicing.
That's cool. So this is something that you actually have possible to do now. It's nothing in the future, it's here and now.
That's right, and we're hoping that at least a few operators in Europe will launch this already this year commercially. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I think, Hans,
Yeah.
we have been starting this live show for a little bit more over 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Even though that we have tons of more things to show, I think we should try to find the last station.
Yes, I mean, we started off around about here before, and what we heard from, if you remember what our friend, just a minute, this is live. So, what we heard from Robert in the beginning, he talked about the energy efficiency, and that is so important because we know that our industry will actually help to decrease the amount of CO emissions that you have because all of the technology that is used to actually limit travel and many other things. But it's also that we can help with the new technology and using artificial intelligence to actually create a much better and more efficient network for our operators. And that means here that you can actually get 48% less energy requirements because you actually have new equipment, you let the site sleep when they are not needed and do that in an intelligent way. So I think this is good. We should finish off with that and think of that we also think about how we, with new Gs, don't really increase the amount of CO emissions that we in our industry.
Absolutely.
So.
And I think the other part and the great thing about the hybrid events is actually also that some people can travel, but not everyone. And I think this is what Matt also mentioned, that either for sustainability, for CO2 emissions, for different reasons. And the future of work, the future of events, I think it is really more inclusive. It really is a tailored experience. And every single time, I'm just amazed how technology is actually enabling that. Thank you so much, Hans, again for partnering with me.
Yeah.
I really do hope that this year we will be able to do more and work together and show all the great things, how technology is changing our lives in the future right now and really helps us with our everyday challenges. Thank you so much for joining us from Mobile World Congress 2022, and we do really hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank
you very much.